Hi, this is Chris. Thanks for stopping by my channel. Today I'm working in Marguerite Miller's Collage Weekly Planner. I've already done the ones for January, so I'll flip through those and explain to you my thoughts when I'm doing a collage, and then I'll do the collage for this week, which is number 7. So here's week 1, and what I usually do is I think of a theme. I look at all the prompts and I think of a theme and I start looking for images. And so this had something magical, time, translucent paper such as tracing paper, vellum or tissue paper, furniture with legs, something triangular, and the bonus is a place. And I had some Discovering Britain magazines from a couple years ago, and I noticed several dark images, and so I thought this one here, it's a painting of the witches from Shakespeare's play Macbeth, and I thought, well, that's magical. So I started looking through and finding images that would go with that. And so what I do is first I come up with a theme, and then I come up with a color. So I decided my theme would be magic and my color would be dark, which isn't really a color, but anything dark would be what I would look for. And then I think of contrast. So I think of contrasts in color, and I think of contrast in size and scale and point of view. So as a person is looking at this, I think about the point of view of the Tower of Big Ben and the point of view of all the other images, and they seem to fit together in a logical way. I think of size and scale, and so I want these to be oversized from the furniture down below. And I think of subject, and I think of the contrast of subject. So here we have the witches, and here we have a stained glass window of a bishop. And I think of the light source, and in this one the light source is coming from here, and with the tower it's sort of coming from below and to the right. And I think of odd numbers, and so I have odd numbers, like there's 3 of the witches, there's 3 of these pointy towers. The mitre is a 3 symbol of 3. I also think about breaking the border, and so I keep the border of the original page, but I've broken through it in places. And I think about connection and opposites and contrasts. So the bishop is the religious symbol, and the witches are more of the magical. I also think about mixing photos and illustrations. So with this, something magical, as I said, was the 3 witches, and I think the fireworks are pretty magical, and they fit with the witches. I mean, they're conjuring up something. Translucent paper is some tissue paper that I had eco-dyed. Furniture with legs. I thought this was a good contrast. It's a modern turn of the last century, probably the 1920s type furniture with this older images. And something triangular, as I said, the mitre on the bishop's hat, the triangular tower of the Big Ben clock, triangles here. And the bonus is a place. So I put the London Underground, and I think of these witches as being sort of underground. And then put in the Queen's picture. And that was week 1. Week 2 is more light-hearted. So on this one, the items were something that lives in a forest, the bluebird, a scrap from a paper pad. These little berries are from a little writing tablet. A playing card. This is from the game of Probe. Something postal. Well, a lot of this is postal. Most of it is postal. In fact, the theme I chose for this is postal, and the color I chose would be blue. And then cursive writing. So these are addresses from Christmas cards that I got with my friend's handwriting and my name on there. And then something stapled. So right here there's a little tiny piece of cardstock, It was a label and somebody already had stapled it, so I just pulled it off and placed it over this probe card. It looks like it's stapled to the card. So that was week number 2. Week 3, the theme I chose was sewing because this sewing pattern in the back and because of the other prompts gave me the idea of something in sewing. And the bonus was lavender, so the color I chose was lavender. Something Fast was my great-grandmother's Singer sewing machine from 1908. Lace can be a portion, a photo, or illustration. This is a scan of lace from my grandmother's lace box, and I scanned it with a piece of lavender paper behind it. A photo or illustration. This is a vintage illustration, or a copy of a vintage illustration of a little sewing box. A game piece. I couldn't find a game piece, but I found this t-shirt that says, "It's all fun and games until the bobbin runs out." A piece of ledger paper. This is a digital from Diane from Pretty Pink Cottage. Text in a foreign language. This is Russian. It's from a Russian fairy tale book, and I like the book because it has the fairy tales in English and in Russian, and so I read the one in English and then I can use the Russian side of the page in collage. And then the bonus was something lavender. So I've got the lavender pieces here. This is a piece of lavender envelope, and then I colored in the pattern piece behind with lavender. Week number 4, I chose a theme of peacocks, and I chose the color turquoise. We have peacocks that run in our neighborhood, and so I've always loved peacocks. And so the first thing, something fancy, that's the peacock. Something that starts with an H, so that's the Hotel Morik, and I got that from the back of the book where Marguerite had printed some pieces that we could use. So that came in handy. Part of a recipe. Here's the recipe. A tree with fruit or blossoms. Well, it's not really a tree, but it is the blossoms of an apple tree that came off some stationery. Something torn. The recipe is torn. This little claim check is torn. And the bonus, something used in an office. So that's this label, claim check label, that would be used in an office. And then I thought this recipe was a little bit boring, so I cut out these words, laugh for the fun of it. Week number 5. This one was kind of a hard one for me. I don't really care for red, and maroon is in the red family. So the theme for this one that I chose was seafood, and the color maroon because of the prompts. So something maroon. This is actually a magazine picture of fall leaves, maple leaves, very dark in color. A repeating pattern found in nature, that's the shells, these repeating patterns. An eating or cooking utensil such as a spoon. Well, I have this fork. It's a reproduction image of a Victorian illustration. Something hung on a wall. This is a subway map. I believe it's in Paris or somewhere in France. A doodle. So I just doodled these wiggly stripes, kind of like seaweed or something, around the edges. And the bonus is typewriter text. This may not be typewriter text, but I think it is a monospaced font, which is similar to typewriter text. But I liked it because it says mock crab salad, and we have the crab on the fork. And this is some of the juxtaposition that I like to do. I like to put, like I put the snail into this pan, and he's hanging over. Put the crab on the tines of the fork. And then these are punch outs from things that I've punched out. I save little things like that, so you can see here is every time I punch something out, I empty my puncher into that. I figure they'll come in handy someday, so I put them sort of like little bubbles going up through there. And week number 6. I just did this one, so I haven't written on it yet. I like to write here. But I do. So for the theme for this one is a garden room. And the color, green. And this one doesn't have a list. It has a sort of a subject, I guess you could say. Pick a room in a home, real or imagined. Find at least 3 images of things that could go in this room and create a collage with them. Well, I found more than 3 things. But I started with this background picture. There's a lake here with a little boat and a little lawn chair, and then behind there's more of the lake and the mountains and the sky. And then this is an arbor here. I think it was for a wedding, how to do a wedding arbor. And it has wisteria and other purple plants at the top and this beautiful green drapery. And then I put this picture of this young woman with flowers. It's called A Young Beauty Holding a Bouquet of Flowers by Fritz Zuber Buhler. And he lived from 1822 to 1896. And then this lampshade, which is a vintage, I think a cake topper, a vintage cake topper that somebody turned into a lamp. I found this rocking chair. That's actually the first piece that I found, was this rocking chair with the quilt and the little calico cat sitting on it. And then I put a cup of tea on there, and I put in this brick walkway to give the chair something to be sitting on. And then I cut out this little watering can with flowers. Now the chair and the lamp, and I believe the lady too, came from an older issue of Mary Jane's Farm. And the background picture and the watering can came from Garden Gate magazine. And the teacup came from Tea Time magazine. And then I used some color pencil to add some shadow to ground the chair. And so you see that the chair is sort of breaking the border, and this picture frame is breaking the border of the arbor. For scale, this is really a little bit too big. I would have liked something smaller, but I really like that image, so I used that. And I probably could have put it up a little bit higher too, now that I look at it. But see, I have another thing that I look for is facing into the image. So you want to draw the eye into the image. So I have the girl facing in, and I have the chair facing this way. I have the water can facing up this way. So all these items draw the eye into the whole image. If I were to put this girl over here, it would be, I don't know, disconcerting. Your eye would want to go look where she's looking, and so your eye would be drawn off there. So that's one of the other things that I think of. Today I'm going to do week 7, and so the prompts are a photo, something in a garage, a rubber stamp used in 2 different colors, a headline, a sewing item, and the bonus is random pieces of washi tape. The first thing I did was I looked through my local newspaper, and I found this headline. My theme will be flight, and my color will be blue. Here's our mountains, and then I cut out this picture from the newspaper of 2 pilots in one of the jets. And I took some photos from, this was 2015 when they were here. And I took these photos. And then I found this picture in an old National Geographic, and I thought, doesn't that guy just look like a fighter pilot? Doesn't he just look like he is concentrating on flying that plane? I love that picture. That's a great picture. That's an albatross. Then I thought, this albatross needs to be wearing a helmet, like the blue angels wear. He needs a helmet. So I went online and I searched for an image that looked like it was in the right perspective with the albatross. So let's see if I can, so you can see that. And I kind of guessed at what size I needed, and I printed it out. And I'll show you how I print these images, because this is, if you haven't seen one of these printers, they're pretty cool. You can print with a border or without a border. And this is the printer. I got the Kodak P210R Mini 2 Retro printer. The case is separate. I bought the case separately. This is what the film cartridge looks like. It comes with a USB charger. And then it comes with an app. And you go into your photos. We turn on the printer. Little lights right there. It's connected by Bluetooth to my phone. And I can make all kinds of adjustments. This is a picture of my cat. I can edit. I can add a fancy frame. I haven't really played too much with these. You can collage different pictures. It's got filters. It's got adjustments. Contrast, saturation, sharpness. There's a lot of things you can do. And so if I want it with a border, I can push this little icon up here and I have a border. I can adjust the size a certain amount where I want the picture to be. So I can pick a picture. I'll pick this one of my cat. And then you hit print. This is a sublimation process printing. It's like the prints you get when you go into a kiosk, if they still have them, like at Walgreens and those places. Now it's aligning the paper. Next it will run the yellow. It's a CMYK sublimation printer. Next comes the magenta. Then the cyan. And then finally it prints over a protection coat. And it comes out. Isn't that cute? You can snap this off. And there. I have a really cute picture of my cat. This is what the cartridges look like. I won't take this one out, but it's very simple. You pull this one out like this, unwrap this, and let's see how it goes that way, yeah. You just push it in. There's, I think, 10 pieces in each cartridge, and you get 3 cartridge per box. So I love that little printer. The stick buddy right there. And this hard shell case is that's a real nice case. That's by Little Gem. Little Gem. Gem. I printed out the helmet, and then it looked like it would fit, so I fussy cut it, and it fits. Then I needed to put this under his beak, so I took an X-Acto knife and I put some little slits in there. And now I have this very serious looking albatross pilot. So I'm going to glue that on with some art glitter glue. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. Now I just have to decide how high I'm going to put him on the page. I'll put the mountains here and the blue angels here. Problem with newsprint is it's kind of dark. Okay, so that covers a photo, the blue angels here and here. Something in a garage, well, the helmet. My dad always kept his motorcycle helmet in the garage. A rubber stamp used in 2 different colors. I pulled out this stamp here with the postage cancellations. Pilots are flying all over the world. This was from Hobby Lobby in 2018. The headline, the Blue Angels headline. A sewing item. That was kind of hard because, you know, what does sewing have to do with flight and pilots? But I have this iron-on patch material. I know somewhere I have a different color, like a blue, but I haven't found it yet. So I thought I could stamp these cancellation marks on there. So patch material. And then the bonus is random pieces of washi tape. I have some Tim Holtz washi tape. So maps would be good. So I'll keep those out. And I will glue these on. I don't really want to glue this on with a wet glue, as it'll make it'll buckle. So I think I'm going to use my tape runner. I still haven't really decided how high up to put that, have I? So I think I like to have things connect and cross. And this original page in the National Geographic was a 2-page spread, so it had this albatross's wings, which I believe they have the longest wings of seabirds. And so when I trimmed it down, I cut it so that he was facing into the image, like I said before. So I could have put him right in the middle. I could have put him over here on the right. But I wanted him to face into the image. So if I have room for these guys and room for these guys, so I can put him right about there. I haven't used tape runners very often. I used to use them in framing. I find them kind of tricky, but they're good for a nice dry fit. Oh, I love that albatross. He is just... he knows where he's going. And then I think I'll use a different tape runner. I think I'll use this tape runner for this. I'm not real proficient with these things. Wow. It's actually tearing the newspaper. I'm going to do the edges with the art glitter glue. Oh, I forgot to put the pictures under there, didn't I? Oh my gosh. Chris, you're just not doing this right. Okay, so do what I say and not what I do. Luckily the art glitter glue didn't stick too much to the glossy magazine. I'll have to cut some of that off. Alright, now what was I going to do next? Okay, I took a picture when I first laid this out, and I actually got these under the mountains pretty well despite my mistake. So I'll put the headline on. I think I'll just put that on the tape runner. Now, do I want it straight or do I want it a little bit? Okay, and I'm breaking the border right here on purpose. And then I want to go over the wing, like that. I've got the photos, I've got the something in a garage, got the headline, and I still need to do the rubber stamp. Maybe I should just do the stamp on here. Maybe I should just eliminate the sewing item because I'll be using the bonus. I think that's what I'll do. So, although if I use the patch, I can cover up this straight line where the photo ended. Wish I could find that blue patch, but then the stamp wouldn't show up. So let's decide what we need of this. I wish I could tear it. I could cut it with my decal scissors. I wonder if I should tea dye this. It's just so very white. But then the frame on the photos is white. I could put that like that with the stamps to represent their travels. 2 colors, it says. Rubber stamp used in 2 different colors. I'm using Stays On. I don't know how much ink is in there. So I'm using Timber Brown and Jet Black. It's wearing out. I have another one of those. Oh, that's better. I like to use a Stays On all-purpose stamp cleaner. It works really well cleaning up the stamps. Look at how clean that comes out. Okay. So maybe I should put a little ink around the edges of that. I'm going to grunge it up a little bit with some engine grease. Okay, what kind of glue should we use there? It has an iron-on adhesive. I'm not going to iron it. Maybe I should use Fabri-Tac. Again, breaking the border. So you see I broke the border here, 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 here. I broke the image overlapping. We've got the photo. We've got the garage. Something in a garage. The rubber stamp in 2 colors. The headline. A sewing out item, the patch. Now, what can we do with the tape? I'm thinking of doing just bits on the edge. So the last thing I want to do, which I usually do, is do a little outlining. I won't do as much on this one because it has some delicate edges here on the image that I don't want to lose. But I'm going to get my Stabilo pencil and start at least with the outside edge of the collage. So I have a little pencil sharpener, and I have a water brush and a white gel pen. This is what I usually use. So this is a Stabilo All by Aqualiable. Writes on paper, glass, plastic, and metal. I learned about this from Diane Hubert at Pretty Pink Cottage. She does some collages, a collage technique with this, and I like that. It's what I used on this one. And then on these I used, since black wasn't appropriate, I used watercolor pencils on those. I haven't done any outlining on this one. I'm still thinking about that. But this one I'm going to start, I'm going to go around the entire edge with a nice sharp pencil. It's kind of a waxy pencil, so it will write on a shiny surface, but it's also water soluble. Going to make the book more manageable. This needs to be, this is going to be a little bit tricky because newspaper is very absorbent, but the magazine is water repellent. So when I go to use my water brush to blend out the Stabilo pencil, it's going to react differently. But I just sort of scribble it on there. And I'm using the sharp tip to get right up to the edge of the magazine paper. I'm going to do the newspaper headline. So this pencil writes really well on the glossy magazine. I think it only comes in black. So I have a water brush and a paper towel so that I can control how much water comes out. I don't want it too wet. So then I just blend it in. This is where it's a little tricky because the magazine repels the water, and so it comes out very, well, it has a mind of its own. It's a little bit hard to control, but that's the interesting part of how it comes out. It looks very free, like a watercolor. So now I decide, do I want to outline the mountains? Do I want to outline the photographs? I think I'll do a very little bit around the photographs. I like how it separates things, sets them apart, gives them contrast on the background. So I think I'm done. I love that albatross, the look on his face. He's looking right at the cameraman. So I'm going to just put a date here. And there we have. And thanks for watching. Have a great day crafting. Bye-bye.